Before becoming FBI Director, Kash Patel claimed the sealed investigation files could be released immediately. When questioned under oath by Representative Jamie Raskin, Patel's answer changed. Watch how the confrontation began.
The President and FBI Director each had complete authority to release Epstein's client list. You said Epstein's black book is under the, quote, direct control of the Director of the FBI. Look at this clip.
This is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black book?
black book?
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's...
Oh, that's under direct control of the Director of the FBI.
All right, so you were sworn in as director more than 200 days ago. Now the black book is under your direct control.
The Rolodex, which is what everybody colloquially refers to as the black book, has been released. Do you have any idea how the law works?
Wait.
Do you want me to break the law in a federal judge's order?
No, I want you to
satisfy
follow your own
curiosity?
word, Director Patel. You said up there it was under the direct control of the FBI Director. He had the black book.
Everything I have direct control over, we have gone to court. You haven't.
Complete your
You went
sentence.
to
Everything
court.
you have direct control over, you said.
That clip set the tone for one of the most direct confrontations of the day. Here is the full, unedited exchange between Raskin and Patel as it played out in the hearing room.
Director Patel, before you joined the FBI, you railed against it for covering up Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking ring. Let me refresh your memory with this clip.
It has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
So you finished that December 2023 interview with a challenge to the FBI and harsh words for Republicans in Congress for not getting the Epstein files out to the public. You can see this clip.
Boy pants, and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are, you said. You emphasized that the President and FBI Director each had complete authority to release Epstein's client list. You said Epstein's black book is under the, quote, direct control of the Director of the FBI. Look at this clip.
This is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black book?
black book?
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's...
Oh, that's under direct control of the Director of the FBI.
All right, so you were sworn in as director more than 200 days ago. Now the black book is under your direct control. So why haven't you released the names of Epstein's co-conspirators in the rape and sex trafficking of young women and girls?
The Rolodex, which is what everybody colloquially refers to as the black book, has been released.
Director Patel's use of the word Rolodex instead of black book is a pivotal detail. The black book Representative Raskin referenced refers to physical records and contact logs seized by federal investigators during their original searches. What journalists obtained years ago was a separate address book with far less context than the raw evidence held by the Bureau. By equating the two, Patel suggests that the public already has the full record. But Raskin immediately rejects that comparison, arguing that the public disclosure only represents a fraction of what remains under federal custody. Listen closely as Raskin refuses to accept that answer and demands a complete accounting of the unreleased files.
Oh, no, you're talking about what the journalist got 5 years ago? No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what you were talking about there,
That's
the black
exactly
book
what I
under
was
the direct
talking
control of the FBI Director.
We have released more material than anyone else before. The Biden administration, Obama administration had the exact opportunities to release this material, and they never did. And if you are telling the men and women of the FBI,
why
we're
have
not
you
going after
changed your
child predators.
position?
Hang on, you said we're not going after child predators. 1,500 child predators arrested this year, 35% increase.
I'll reclaim my time.
4,700 child
Mr.
victims
Chairman, I'm going to
found.
reclaim my time if you could instruct the witness. Why have you changed your position? There you were saying it's under the direct control of the FBI Director and all of it should be released. Why have you changed your
Everything
position?
that has been lawfully permitted to be released has been released. And as I told you,
Really?
the investigation was limited. And let me make something crystal clear. I never said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic other people, other women, and they're not other victims. This is the investigation we were given from 2006, 7, and 8, and the search warrants from 2006, 7, and 8. That's what we're working with.
Director Patel's response here marks a clear shift in the discussion. When pressed on why his public stance changed, he immediately cited 1,500 recent arrests and thousands of recovered victims. Those numbers represent real law enforcement work, but they bypassed the question Raskin actually asked. Raskin wasn't questioning the Bureau's active cases. He asked why the man who once claimed the director had direct control over the Epstein files hasn't released them. By focusing on arrest statistics, Patel highlights agency operations rather than the legal limits now constraining him. Watch what happens next as Raskin refuses to drop the issue, demanding answers about seized computers, emails, and financial records.
Wait, have you released all of the stuff that the FBI has seized from Epstein's house? The computers, the emails, the file cabinets, the documents? What about the financial records? Have you released all of that?
Everything the court has allowed us to release.
Which court are you talking about?
3 separate federal courts have come in and said...
We're talking about the evidence you've got. It's got nothing to do with what those courts have.
Do you have any idea how the law works?
Wait.
Do you want me to break the law in a federal judge's order?
No, I want you to
satisfy
follow your own
curiosity?
word, Director Patel. You said up there it was under the direct control of the FBI director. He had the black book.
Everything I have direct control over, we have gone to court. You haven't.
Complete your sentence. Everything you have direct control over, you said.
Have gone to court, and everything we have direct control
Patel,
over.
Complete your sentence. You said everything.
Release. We're releasing.
He'd like to complete his answer.
That response was intended to close the exchange, but it had the opposite effect. Looking closely at that response, Patel's choice of the word curiosity fundamentally shifts the tone of the hearing. Raskin wasn't asking out of personal interest. He was asking on behalf of the families of victims, on behalf of members of Congress who have spent years trying to force this disclosure, and on behalf of the American public who watched Patel himself demand this exact release when he was a private citizen. Framing the question as mere curiosity treats a formal congressional oversight inquiry as a trivial personal request. Compare that to what Patel said before he was director. He called the FBI's silence evil. He used that word. Now, the moment he holds the power to act, the same demand is framed as idle curiosity. The contrast between calling the Bureau's silence evil in 2023 and calling congressional questions curiosity today highlights a clear shift in perspective. What follows is the final exchange where the legal constraints governing the case are put directly on the official record.
You began the sentence, everything you have direct control over, and then you stopped that sentence. You've released everything that you have direct control over?
And I have direct control over and can lawfully release. If you're not familiar with the court orders, that's not my fault.
Oh, I'm
Go
perfectly,
look at them.
I'm perfectly familiar
court.
with them, but how did we prosecute Ghislaine Maxwell?
She was prosecuted with the investigatory material that was collected from 2001 and 2005 because of the non-prosecution agreements and the court orders on the investigations and search warrants. We were not able to develop new information. And oh, by the way, Jeffrey Epstein was out for 12 years, and the Obama and Biden administration did nothing to look at his work, his network. If you want to blame me, that's fine. But now you're blaming the men and women who conducted this great search.
Stop that. I'm not blaming anybody other than you. You're not keeping your word. You said that you would release all of the materials under your direct control.
Has anyone released more information on Epstein than I have? Has anyone?
Much more.
Did Comey? Did Ray?
Much more.
Did they?
Excuse me. Much more has come out in the days since the American people in Congress have been demanding it, but it's coming out in dribs and drabs. Why don't you just release the entire file as you promised to do?
I literally just told you, there are multiple federal court orders. I'm not going to break the law to satisfy your curiosity. You didn't join us when we filed court to release the court orders. You could have. You have lawyers. You could have shown up. You didn't do that.
That's a tiny fraction of the material we're talking about.
That is not.
It is a tiny fraction.
How do you know that? Have you seen
Representative Raskin repeatedly pressed for a straight answer, and Director Patel pushed back with a single defense. Has anyone released more information than I have? That moment shifts the entire hearing from a promise of full disclosure into a comparison with past directors. But Patel's reference to Ghislaine Maxwell's trial brings the real issue to light. Federal disclosures are heavily restricted by the 2008 non-prosecution agreement, a deal that extended immunity to unnamed co-conspirators and binding federal court orders on early search warrants. When Patel argues that he cannot violate those court orders, he is describing a real legal barrier that has locked down these files for nearly 2 decades. This is where the broader institutional challenge becomes clear. Patel was not director when that non-prosecution agreement was signed. He was not director when those court orders were issued. He is correct that the Biden and Obama administrations had years to challenge those restrictions in court and largely did not. But Patel also told the American public, in plain language, on camera, that the director had full authority to release the Black Book. He did not say the director has full authority unless court orders get in the way. He made the claim without conditions. But serving as director, those legal conditions have taken center stage. That is the credibility gap Raskin was pressing on, and Patel never closed it, not once in the entire exchange. He defended his actions. He cited previous administrations. He cited arrest statistics. He invoked federal judges. None of those responses addressed the original claim he made in December 2023. None of them explained why a man who described these files in detail in past interviews did not also address the court orders that would prevent their release. This creates a clear contrast between his earlier public statements and the strict federal court restrictions he faces today. Beyond the legal arguments, there is a human element to this investigation. The investigation is not an abstraction. It involves real victims who have spent decades seeking justice and full transparency in federal courtrooms. Some have given depositions, some have never spoken publicly. They are watching the same hearings you are. When Patel says the court won't allow full disclosure, and when Raskin says the material is coming out in dribs and drabs, neither of them is wrong. Both things are simultaneously true. More has been released than before, and far less has been released than what exists. The question of what those victims are owed, full transparency versus legal process, is not a clean one. Courts have sometimes sealed related materials specifically to protect the identities of victims. That protection cuts in multiple directions. It can shield victims from unwanted exposure. It can also be used to shield others from accountability. The line between those two uses of secrecy is exactly what this hearing was trying to locate. This leaves the public questioning how the Bureau will balance past promises with current legal realities. When a congressional hearing concludes without resolving the fate of sealed records, the question shifts from Capitol Hill to the American public. Did Representative Raskin have every right to demand the full files, or is Director Patel strictly bound by federal court orders? Share your thoughts on this hearing in the comments. For straight reporting and congressional oversight, subscribe to the Politics Report. Thank you for watching.